Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today, where we're going to talk about important items and things that you may want to consider when it's time to do some additional planning for your golden years and look at some of other senior options that may be around you, what to consider, questions to ask, things like that. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to get started. Here we go. So, senior living options. My name is Olga St Pierre. I am a senior real estate living specialist. And just a little bit about me. I have been helping clients move across the United States and Canada for the last 16 years. And our focus is on working with seniors, veterans, and their families to help you ease your anxiety and the overwhelm and just kind of break things down and help you understand what's out there. What are some of the really good options? We do a complete senior transition concierge services. Anything that you can probably think about, we probably have answers or resources to help you break it down into manageable steps and help you figure out what the resources are. So please consider us your local or virtual yellow pages, anything from A to Z of any kind of resources, whether it's a home safety assessment, whether it's recommendations for professional organizers, cleaners, contractors, attorneys, financial advisors, home and community research assistants, talking about different marketing strategies for when the time comes of potentially selling your home, different coordination, movers, packers, things like that. So besides the official title of a licensed senior real estate living specialist, I also have probably a few hundred of other unofficial designations, such as an adult guidance counselor, a therapist, mediator and a peacekeeper among family members, confidant, psychologist, sounding board, dog walker, house and person checker. And by the way, the dog walker is definitely by choice. I love checking in on my furry clients as well. And probably a few other ones that I may not think about now, but I'll probably add it on later. So here we go. Here's the plan that we have for today. I would like to give you some food for thought on why considering different retirement options, what are some of the important things to consider, questions to ask yourself. This is where I'm going to suggest to you to grab a notebook, just something simple. Maybe it's a piece of paper. I do recommend that you do perhaps a maybe one subject or two subject notebook, because you will have a lot of questions and things to jot down and thoughts. We're going to discuss different retirement living options, different types, maybe some pros and cons to look at. And I'm going to wrap up by giving you a few tips to kind of downsize and de-stress your move, because all of us accumulate hundreds of things and the stuff that we no longer use or need. And then what are some of my suggestions as to what to do next? After we go through and discuss and brainstorm, a lot of the times my clients say, okay, so where do I go from here? And what you do is just take it one step at a time. We're going to take it one day at a time and kind of figure things out. So a few things that you probably are thinking about that are floating through your mind as to why I should consider retirement options. So the first thought that probably is kind of floating in your mind is this: my current home is going to be the best possible place to live in my post-retirement years and throughout my golden years. And that may be true, but also at the same time, I'm here to also help you think this through and say, but what if, right? This is what I'm going to ask you today is, what if tomorrow brings something different? Because that ideal home that that makes sense to you is going to evolve throughout your lifetime as you go through different stages in your life journey. And really the best home for you to create new memories for the next stage of your life is going to be the one that is going to provide you more freedom, more convenience, better care, and less worry. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to ask you to think about your current home where you are at and if it's going to actually make sense to you. The next one is, my current home is the best option for me to continue to have an actual active social life and to stay connected with my friends in the years ahead. I'm here to tell you that that may not always be the case because your friends may be also having different thoughts depending on their personal circumstances of maybe making a move. And I think it's a really good idea for you to ask them to sit down, maybe invite them over or go out and have some dinner with them and say, hey, what are you guys thinking about doing? What is important to you? Is making a move maybe something that is also on your mind because we are trying to brainstorm ideas? The next one is, well, it's going to be less expensive for me and more financially secure for me to stay in my home because I don't have a mortgage. It's all paid off and I work so hard. And I really do applaud you because having a paid off mortgage is such an amazing feeling. I totally understand. Yet at the same time, you still have monthly expenses with home ownership. I want you to think about your home in the same way you think about you. As you go through your life stages, your home goes through those stages as well. And some of the components of the home are going to also age. And the things that I invite you to also consider and think about are the major parts of your home, which is your siding, your roof, your windows, your heating and air conditioning, your plumbing and electrical, your basement and attic. All those things do wear out. And eventually you're going to have to put on a new roof on. You may have to replace your water heater and your heating system. And those things nowadays, if you haven't gotten some quotes lately, one of the latest quotes that we had for a heating and air conditioning system was between $10,000 and $15,000. A new roof, I had an estimate done just for a pretty decent sized home was between $24,000 and $28,000. So just food for thought, because if you haven't planned for or you haven't done some of those major updates to your home that are essential to maintain the biggest asset that you own, that may be time to jot some of these things down. It will be easy for me to get any care that I need in the home. That may or may not be the case depending on your personal health and your personal circumstances. Care at home can be difficult. It can be costly and unreliable, especially if you're not sure how to do all of that coordination. And maybe you don't have your team together, because that's what it takes. A team of doctors, nurses, care advocates, and other professionals to help you make sure that everybody's involved and everybody knows about what is going on in your health as well as your personal life. So let's jump in and talk about the first focus. And this is where most of you are going to say, Olga, this is exactly what I would love to do. And we laugh about it because a lot of my clients say, you know what? You can help my family carry me out of here in the box. I plan to stay in my home. And then when I am ready to go, I'm going to be going. And I love that for you, and I will support you and cheer you on to make sure that really this happens. However, I can tell you that 7 out of 10 times, so 70% of the time, most seniors are not able to stay in their home because of a health circumstance, health condition, or a health crisis. So all I ask you to do is to consider, number one, the question I'm going to ask you is your home safe today, right now? Or if you really are focusing on staying in your home, what kind of modifications do we need to make sure that your home is going to be safer? What does that look like? And of course, financially, is that viable and a feasible option? So the first suggestion I have for you is to do a home safety assessment. This is something that you can do yourself. You can have a family member to do, or I do it for some of my clients. It is a document that is a few pages long, and it goes through every single room of your home on the inside as well as the outside. Okay, so that is what we work on. And then we also look at potential options. Could it be the case, or are those modifications maybe too much? It doesn't mean that you can't stay independent in a home. It could be maybe having a conversation and having an option of downsizing to a smaller home. If you are in a two-story colonial, it has a two-car garage, you have a basement and that's where your laundry is, and your primary bedroom is on the second floor, does it make sense potentially to downsize to a ranch-style one-story living to make life overall better and easier for you? Number two, access to healthcare and personal care. It is very individual and based on your health. We're talking about companion care, healthcare, as well as skilled nursing care. If you are talking about this, it could be access to having a home aide come in every day or maybe a few times a week. And those are hourly costs. And you do definitely want to consider to use a home agency that has licensed and insured staff for your safety and security. Number three will be your financial resources to help you and fund your living. So we're talking about different things about your insurance, physician-created care plan, if you have private insurance, maybe long-term care insurance. A lot of these costs are going to be coming as what's called a private pay, which is your own funds, whether it's your savings, whether it's going to be from your retirement accounts, things like that. Number four is access to transportation. Is it possible that at some point in the near future, you're not going to be able to drive yourself, which means that you also need to think about the transportation that you may need in order to take you to the doctor's appointments, in order to take you to some other social activities, which are very important, or to take you just basic grocery shopping, things like that. Number five is access to social interaction. Absolutely necessary. We are human creatures and we need contact and we need that social interaction. If you are an introvert, I totally understand that, but you still need it a little bit almost on the daily basis. So seeing your friends and family on the daily basis and maybe a few times a week. Do you belong in any kind of community organizations or clubs? We're talking about maybe senior centers or senior groups or volunteering or doing something that feeds your soul and has you excited because now you have the time to contribute in whatever way makes sense to you. And of course, we're talking about the transportation to make sure that you are staying active and engaged, but also doing it in a safe manner. So as we're going through, here are some of the questions that I'm going to have you ask yourself, and it's going to take you some time to work through them. Don't think that you're going to be able to answer all of these questions right away and you're going to have complete clarity. It's probably not going to happen. It's one of those things where you're going to ask yourself, you're going to jot down the first thoughts that come to mind, because that's where your intuition is coming into play. Yet at the same time, don't be surprised if you're just going to be kind of rolling that question in your mind, mulling things over, and then some additional thoughts are going to pop back up later. And that's why having a notebook nearby is so important. So these are the questions that I encourage you to go back when you get a copy of this workbook, to sit through and just take a look at them and jot them down in your notebook, and then jot down your thoughts and be extremely honest with yourself on where do you see yourself in the next 3, 5, 7 to maybe 10 years. So what are these senior communities? What does that mean? What do they look like? So we're going to start with 55 plus active adult communities, and that is really your easiest start in thinking about downsizing into something that is going to be focused on taking care and having an amazing lifestyle for older adults. You can purchase something, you can rent something depending on your area. There are 55 plus rental apartment complexes. There are 55 plus condos, single family homes, or townhouses. Those are available for purchase, where you would downsize your home and then purchase something else. A lot of the times they do have a monthly HOA fee. However, think of that fee as an investment where there's going to be robust community activities. There's going to be pool and gym, and then some other activities. And you don't have to worry about maybe shoveling snow, cutting grass in the summer, and a lot of the landscaping is taken care of. So here are some pros of why 55 plus active adult communities may be a good option for someone. There's going to be less maintenance. It's going to be a right size living space. It's going to be smaller, and at the same time, it's going to be less space that may be feeling overwhelming, which means it's also going to be less cleaning. Surrounded by your peers, your neighbors are going to be in the similar age categories. They're also going to be enjoying their retirement, which means that there is going to be more social interaction if this is something that perhaps you were missing and very much craving in your older home. Convenient amenities. You have the fitness center and the swimming pools. A lot of them are near golf courses, tennis courts, there's walking trails. So there's tons of opportunities to have really robust social interactions, but also at the same time, if you don't want to participate all the time, you don't have to. You can take a step back and enjoy the privacy and the solitude of your own home. There's also health and wellness focus. Many communities do emphasize health and wellness by providing fitness programs, wellness classes, and also opportunities to engage in physical recreation activity. I was just talking to a client today who is getting ready to move in the 55 plus community. They're downsizing from a single family home. And she was talking to a past president of the HOA, and he said that they have a very robust group of volunteers that help with things like welcoming new members, or maybe there's some kind of community service that needs to be done. That is what they do. They sometimes pool resources together. It could be the time, it could be the actual labor, and they get to work. So again, it's something, again, to feel good about, doing participation, being socially involved, and having overall good time. And the other item to consider, of course, is safety and security. Many communities are gated, where they have security services and features, and that will provide residents with a sense of safety and also a peace of mind. Independent senior living communities are also going by a couple of different names. It could be retirement communities, it could be 55 plus, active adult communities, or senior living apartments. So it is really like living at home, but it's going to be, again, in the community of other adults. Some of them also offer meal options if you want to. Maybe you don't feel like cooking in your own place. You can actually go down to the dining hall and then partake in the menus that are available for that day. There's social activities, there's planned outings, there could be trips, there could be bus available to you to go shopping or to a near mall. And then there's also on-site amenities as well, like beauty salons, different facilities, libraries, and fitness centers as well. They do not offer personal care services, but residents can still arrange for those services through third-party providers, and those providers can actually come to you if you want to, or you can drive over to their locations. So overall, the independent senior living communities are going to be less expensive than assisted living because you are independently living and you're not asking for that help. And most of the time, those communities are going to be private pay, which is something that you pay out of your savings, where Medicare or Medicaid may not cover. So when you are choosing an independent living community, use a checklist. We have a checklist actually for different levels of senior living options. So that way you can track and then compare your options. And we can, of course, always email you or mail you these checklists. So that way, when you are ready to visit them, you have all the resources to kind of keep track to make sure that you're asking all of the important questions that are going to matter in your decision making. The next one is when you do need a little bit more care, or you think that you're going to need a little bit more care, then we're going into assisted living communities. And it could be activities of daily living that you need some assistance, but you still want to live as independently as possible. So here, what we're talking about is the activities of daily living would be your bathing, grooming, toiletries, transferring in and out of bed or chair, eating, and that kind of covers most of them. There is some nursing care that is available, but it's not required, but it's there for you to, again, have a peace of mind. So here you can have a private or a shared room within a larger campus residence. And some of the standard services that you can expect at the assisted living community is 3 meals a day. There's snacks, definitely regular housekeeping, so that way you don't have to worry about maintenance, laundry services, social activities, supervision, security, as well as transportation. Most of these communities have a very nice senior-friendly layout and design. They are communities or neighborhoods. They're all going to be well lit. They're going to be easy to navigate, and they're going to have a very pleasant atmosphere and colors. So we do have a checklist that you can also use that we can get over to you. Continuing care retirement or life plan communities are going to be something where if you want to have a peace of mind and you don't want to move anywhere else, you just want to stay in one place, this could be the right move for you. So think of the CCRCs, is another way to describe them, is like a college campus where you are on campus and you're staying there no matter what. And maybe you are starting at a school of education, and then maybe depending on your care plan that you may need, depending on your health circumstances, you now need to move into the School of Engineering, and maybe a little bit later you need to move into the School of Business. So that's one of the ways that I describe continuing care retirement communities. So they do offer long-term contracts that are going to guarantee you lifelong well living. There are combination of living options. You can have independent living, assisted living, and then skilled nursing. And I can tell you that some of my clients said, we really want to have a cottage. We want to have our own building, right? A single family home in a senior community. If that is the case, then the CCRC will be your option, because in many cases in independent living communities or assisted living, or if you need some skilled nursing, most of the time it's going to be apartment style. So here you have also lots of things to do in social opportunities and fitness and wellness, educational and cultural events as well. There's going to be flexible options in dining with housekeeping and interior and exterior maintenance. And here you have some options on what kind of plan that you can select. So in the beginning, you're going to have some kind of a deposit, and then you're also going to have a large buy-in, and then you're going to have a monthly rental fee. So there's going to be different types of services depending on what kind of level care you may need now, and perhaps what you may need later. So definitely take a look and see what those menu of services is available. So here, when we're talking about comparing how much would it cost for you to stay at home versus going into a senior community, I encourage you to create this budget sheet if you don't have one already. And it could be something, maybe it's as a spreadsheet, depending on how savvy you are with those, or it can be simple as a sheet of paper. So this is where my suggestion to you is come up with a simple budget. Analyze all of the income that you have coming in, and then track your expenses that you have on a monthly basis, things that are consistent, okay? And then you can take a look and compare how much your costs are going to be if you're going to stay at home versus your expenses at a senior community. And also keep in mind, as the time goes by and you grow older and wiser, most likely your expenses for your health related needs are going to grow. And is this something that we need to consider when we are looking at different options and wondering and thinking about how can we plan for potentially higher expenses down the road, maybe 5 or 10 years from now? If you would like a copy of this particular budget sheet, we also have it as part of our resources. So please let us know, and we're more than happy to send it to you. The next one is going to be your nursing and rehabilitation communities. This is where the care is provided to you around the clock. This is going to be the most expensive option because of the fact that the care is needed all the time. And it is really a good option for individuals who are too sick or frail to live at home, who cannot be lived at home, and memory care for someone, a loved one who has an Alzheimer's or dementia is going to fall in the memory care categories. So a couple of things to consider here: where the funds going to come from to enter into the community. This can be a short-term rehab option, for example, if a recovery is needed after the surgery, but it also can be a long-term medical stay. And this is where we're talking about a serious financing consideration, because a lot of these communities will have the monthly fees of $8,000, if not more, depending on the level of care that you or your loved one may need. So here, let's look at some options for financing. What does Medicare cover? Is there's an option for you to go on Medicaid, which is a state program? What private insurance do you have? Your personal assets that are going to be used under circumstances. All of those things are important to consider and also to plan. And of course, we also have the checklist for you that we're going to send to you if you are interested. This is a really good graph. I actually have two of them just to kind of give you a bird's eye overview on overall what are some of the general senior living options. Of course, we're going to start from the left and then work our way to the right, from the least expensive option to the most expensive option. And then depending on what are amenities or other features that are important to you, which show up in the left column, then you can look and see which community is going to offer most, if not all, of those items that are important to you. And this is another great visual as well. Of course, is you start at the left bottom corner, then you work your way up, right? When you have a 45-degree angle, kind of like an arrow going up, you have your dementia and Alzheimer care, your nursing home and hospice care are going to be the most expensive aspects when we're talking about senior living options. So 5 steps to selecting a senior living community. So I figured we can talk a little bit more about what does that mean? Like, once you have all this information, a lot of people get overwhelmed and they're not sure. So one of the things that I like to recommend is retaining a senior housing advisor. These advisors are at no charge to you. They actually get paid by the community of your choice when you're ready to make that selection. And what I really like about them is they help you ask the right questions, they accompany you, they schedule the appointments for you, and then they're to advocate for you to make sure that you feel comfortable with everything. If you need some recommendations for our local senior housing advisors, please let me know, because I'm happy to put you in touch with these individuals, because they're great team members to have, because they will work really hard and be on your side. So number 1 tip will be visiting as many communities as you can after you can evaluate your needs. And this is where I encourage you to do that sooner than later, because there is no obligation. All of the sales directors are happy to meet with you, show you around. You can do a tour, you can have lunch. Some of them offer you ability to stay overnight, so that way you can truly get a feel for the community. I also encourage you to talk to residents. If there's family members, if you attend some events, just ask them, what do you like about this community? How long you have been here? And also ask them what they don't like, because there are people that there's always going to be something that people don't like, because unfortunately you just can't have it all. But it would be nice to know what are some of those things, and then you can look at your list to see if this is something that you're okay with, or maybe it's just not something that you're okay with and it's not going to be negotiable for you. So when you narrowed it down to 2 or 3, return for another visit and then ask for some more questions. So here's what's next. I know we talked about different options, and I know that this is a lot of information, and this is why I encourage you to start sooner than later, because it's going to take time for you to kind of get all your ducks in a row and figure out this puzzle and then put it together. So number 1, grab a notebook and just jot down first just how you're feeling. Just kind of put it all on paper. Write down your feelings, your plans, your thoughts. Maybe you have a deadline in mind. Maybe you need to ask some questions. Maybe you need to talk to your loved ones. Have a meeting with your loved ones, whether it's your kids, your grandkids, or maybe your siblings, and just talk to them, let them know what they need to know. What are you feeling? What are your questions and concerns? And perhaps you need help. It's definitely okay to need help and feel unsure. Where to find your important documents, talk about it. Perhaps it's time to update some of your power of attorney or your will if it has been a while. Who is going to be in charge if you're not able to make decisions? Who is part of your team? We're talking about your doctors, your attorney, your financial advisor, your accountant. Make a list of all these people and how to reach out to them. And also, what are your wishes? That is your healthcare and your advance directive, where you let other people know answers to such uncomfortable, I understand, difficult, I totally understand, but very necessary answers to questions such as, do you want to be buried or cremated? Do you want to be an organ donor? And if you are on life support, how long do you want to be kept on? Nobody wants to make these decisions. They want to hear from you on what you would like. What are those wishes? If you do decide to stay in your home, request a safety assessment appointment. I'm happy to help you to make those plans. If this is something that you want to do yourself, not a problem. We'll send you the document and you can at least get started and take some notes and see what you think. Evaluate your monthly expenses. We have a spreadsheet, or you can create your own. If you decide that a retirement community is a better option for you, make plans to visit a few communities in your target areas and bring the checklist with you, or partner with a community advisor to help you make those visits a little bit easier, because you will have someone to kind of lean on and to get those questions answered. And these checklists that we have are going to help you keep on track, make sure that you're asking the important questions. That way, then you can make your final decision when you're ready, when the time comes to say, yes, I know exactly where I'm going, and here's my option and choice number 1, 2, and 3. And of course, we have some other workshops that we do on the regular basis that are going to be available. They are part of our senior series, and you can head over to the bit.ly link that we have, or you can scan the QR code to check out our schedule of other workshops that are coming up. Now, regardless of what you decide, I have 10 tips for you to help you downsize and de-stress your move. Because as you can imagine, making a move as you get older is going to be more and more challenging. And that is one of the other reasons. I can't tell you how many times I had clients that made a move and they said, Olga, I should have done it so much sooner. I wish I would have done this 5 years, 10 years ago. And of course, you know, the hindsight is 2020. So what I encourage you to do is just doing some thinking and helping yourself make this process a little bit easier by doing some of the downsizing and decluttering now, before you have a timeline and maybe a deadline and you are stressing to get it done in a short amount of time. Number 1, don't be afraid to ask for help. You really do. And if you need to hire someone, that is okay. They're going to keep you on track and they're going to help you with the physical aspect. Number 2, pack a survival bag for moving day. This is just something that is needed and a lot of people don't think about. I have a checklist here for you. Space planning ahead. It's important to kind of understand where you're going to next, and having a floor plan or maybe just a simple drawing, so that way you know the size of the walls, you know where the doors are, you know where the windows are, so that way you can gently figure out and pencil in some of the furniture. And then it's also going to help you understand what are some of the pieces of the furniture that you just need to get rid of and move on, because they're not going to be a good fit for your next chapter of your beautiful life. Number 4 is don't lose touch. Create a list of people, places, and utility service that will need to be notified of your upcoming change of address. Number 5, recycle the toxins. Create a box or tote. So we're talking about hazardous items such as paint, cleaning products, supplies, and other things. And I have some links and resources here for you. Number 6, use it up and don't move it out. Canned goods, frozen food, paper products, just use it just like you use it to empty your refrigerator when you go on vacation. The same thing. We're going to be moving. Let's eat as much things that we have. And then when we get to our new place, we're going to start our new pantry and we're going to start our new refrigerator. Number 7, donate books. As you know, paper is very heavy. If you have a library like you see behind for me, take the things that are very important to you that you know are going to be part of your library, something that you treasure and you're going to reread for months and years ahead, and then you can donate the rest to your library. Number 8, save your memories. Services exist now to help you make sure that you preserve your memories and take all your photos, slide and videos and adding them to a smaller digital size files that you can easily able to watch on your computer, or maybe to put in the frame, or maybe print some new photos when you get to your new place. But you definitely want to take those albums and really take care of them, because if you don't have pictures, those are one of the biggest things that we don't want to have regret of losing. Number 9 is getting generous, gifting some treasures to special people in your life from the things that you have. It could be neighbors, your groups and organizations that are important to you, and then donating the rest, because that is also gifting a part of you to someone else who is to someone that you don't know, yet they have an opportunity to find a treasure for themselves as well. And number 10, start early and then end happy. And remember, it's never too early to start doing a little downsizing and decluttering, because you're not really downsizing, you actually are right sizing for this chapter of your life as you continue to enjoy your golden years. And you can start with a problem area. You can start with the favorite room in your home, or if you want, you just start from the left and then you kind of work your way all the way to the right. That will be your choice to do. And this page covers great resources that we have for you, how you can get in touch with us, what are some of the ways and where you can find the recordings of this workshop as well as others, getting recommendations, and all of the other amazing resources that we have mentioned to you in this workshop. I think that what I want you to do is to understand that, first of all, yes, I understand that this is a lot, and I shared with you quite a bit of slides. Yet at the same time, I just invite you to think about the fact that, first of all, you don't have to have all the answers right now. Number 2, it is going to take you time to figure things out and figure out what your next move is and what that makes sense to you, and that it is okay to ask for help. Perfectly okay, because making a move when you are older is going to feel like a lot. And you are not a sprite 25-year-old anymore, and that is okay. So we're going to do it slowly. We're going to get help. We're going to do it one step at a time, one day and 1 week at a time. And please know that the resources are here and available to you, and the help is here to make it as stress-free as possible with no overwhelm and no anxiety needed. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you found this information valuable and helpful. And please remember, we're here to help you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.